Welcome back to Visited by Voices Live, the community show. Once a month, we come together to just talk about what's going on in the genre and in our life and the intersection of the two. I am already joined at this point by Joe Perdue and Dan Shine. How are you guys doing tonight?
Not too bad. Well.
all together now.
How are you doing, Lauren?
Well, I could be feeling a little bit better, so this probably isn't going to be the longest community stream ever, but I definitely enjoy getting together with everyone and just talking the talk. You know, bullshit will get you through life. That's definitely true.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So if anyone out there wants to join the show tonight, there is definitely a lot of room for you. And there is a link in both the chat and in the description below the video. We'd love to have you as long as you're on your good behavior, as long as you have your camera and your mic on and your face is on camera. An example of that would be Mr. Cam.
Damn. What's going on, Cam?
How's it going?
It is just starting, so you've missed
We're
out.
already live.
Absolutely. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. I just want to show your audience that who might be interested. I got this up on eBay right now, and
oh wow!
I mean,
novelization. Wow!
I've never even opened this thing, so
yeah,
still in pretty good condition. So anyway, it's on eBay right now.
What are you starting the bids at?
I started at 75 just to see if there were any takers.
Jesus.
Well, that's an extraordinarily good price for the book. Abe Books right now has copies of I think everything in the series, and nothing's less than $350. So,
and he didn't do all 8, right? There's only a few of them he did.
No, so he got approached to write the adaptation of the 6th film as it came out, and it sold extraordinarily well. And that was not something that was expected.
Right.
There was no expectation that Friday the 13th fans read. Okay.
That cover art was great.
It's the best, yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember I was at there was a grocery store called Alpha Beta. I don't know if you know that one over there on the East Coast, but I remember being in the book section as a little kid in 1986, and it had pictures on the inside cover, but that front cover of Jason Lives, it was $1, like $1.95 or something like that. And my mom was like, "I'll buy it for you." And it, of course, has the infamous ending with Jason's dad in it. And so I remember it almost seemed like there was just like a few months later, and then part 1 was in the stores. It seemed like there was a quick turnaround.
Well, it probably felt like that. It was a full year, but what happened then is the plan was to release them quarterly and go through the whole series. They're first draft novels. They're the kind of thing that got spun through, and they're barely more descriptive than the screenplays were. In fact, in the case of the 6th film, the screenplay probably is more descriptive. But what happened is that as well as the 6th one did, the rest did not. They just didn't sell. So the first came out, and the expectations were not met. The second came out, the expectations were even worse, not met. And the third one barely crawled onto market. There's the least amount of copies of it that were pressed in that first pressing, and it's the least available of the bunch. It's very hard to find that for less than 400 in any condition.
If he had done The New Blood, it would have sold well, because I think it was like the current film, that people wanted to read.
It would have been that would have been the current film, but I'm not sure if. I think that it was just the novelty of a Friday the 13th novel. Now, there had been a previous adaptation of the 3rd book already on market, and that didn't do well at all, by Michael Avallone. It's also all these books are. I'm not attacking the writers. Okay, they were paid to put these things out fast. These feel like 2-week writes. That's what they feel like. All of them, whether it's Simon Clarke or Michael Avallone, Simon Hawke. Sorry, it's they were paid to write them. These were not passion projects, and I think you can tell when you read them.
I think Simon Hawke would make a fascinating interview on your channel.
He probably would. He did. You know what? He did he talked to Friday the 13th, the franchise, a couple years back. It might be maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know. So I could reach out to Jason Parker. Maybe we can make that happen.
That'd be fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, he did other work as well with other pen names, so it would be probably interesting to his experience. But there was that period where there was an idea that you could capitalize on the big horror franchises with novels. That's why those adaptations of the Nightmare on Elm Street, the first 3 in a single volume, came out. And those were pretty abysmally written as well. But again, I'm not blaming the writers.
But I remember reading that third novelization because I had that set, and then when I saw the movie, I'm like, this has nothing to do with what I just read. It was like off of Wes Craven's script, I think, or because it certainly was not on the final script. Those characters had different powers in that book.
Yeah, well, I think they quite literally just handed over the screenplays and said, flesh it out a little, but we need it by Thursday.
Sure.
Because I mean, it's all passive tense. It's adverb setting, which, by the way, I'm not an anti-adverber, but I do understand that when they appear in every sentence, that is lazy. They have their place.
Do you miss that kind of thing? I mean, like, there was something kind of cool that every movie in the 80s kind of had its own novelization, and as bad as they were, I think it's kind of a fun. I thought it was a great way for writers to break into the business too.
Well, the thing is, they kept going back to the same writers, which is how people like Alan Dean Foster turned a novelization business into a legitimate literary career. But yeah, I mean, if you could produce on time, that's what they cared about with these things. The window. It's not that the window wasn't wide. Like, they'd get the screenplays, and then there was months to produce the novels, and there was no bells or whistles attached to the production. But the truth is, they didn't. The art behind it, the writing, was the least of their concerns. It was that the product hit maybe a month before the film was out, because that's the big key here. You wanted the people who were desperate for the movie to pick it up before the movie. So if the movie was awful and got horrible reviews, or if the fan base hated it, you would have had a full month to sell the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it used to be how people would find out about movies. The Ghostbusters adaptations, I remember hearing the entire plot of Ghostbusters 2 from friends who had read the book.
Oh, wow.
And now I don't know if they still do, but for a while it was the comic books. They would get released.
Damn, Jay's in the house.
Jay is in the house and wearing white, because sometimes good guys don't wear white. Standell is saying that.
You got red on you.
Well, so let me ask you, Joe, Jay, Dan, did you guys collect movie tie-in editions?
Never.
I did, and there's some that I really regret getting rid of because it seems they're all worth like a fortune now. But Friday the 13th also had a series by Eric Morse. They were like teenager novels. They're not very good, but
I have them too. Well, the Mother's Day, the third book, is actually kind of good. Mm-hmm. It's the best of the bunch. The Carnival one is abysmal.
Yeah, I actually know him a little bit, but books aren't great.
What about and then Halloween had like a teenagey kind of like. They weren't novelizations. They were more of like just spin-off books. But those are going for $300, $400 each now too.
Jeez.
Yeah, the Halloween ones are insane. I want to say I know some other YouTuber did a video on it a while back, and I think somebody sold one for like $450. I mean, it's crazy.
It's not even a big book. That's the crazy thing. The novels, they're so tiny.
Yeah.
What about you, Jay?
Movie tie-ins. You're talking about just books?
Yeah.
Like this one that I have here.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
I had some. I know I had Arachnophobia at one time.
Ooh.
Oh, the John Goodman movie?
Yeah.
Damn, I haven't seen the movie in years.
That's probably worth a pretty penny right now.
I have no idea where it is now, but yeah, I had a few. Usually they weren't great. Like if they were based on the movie, generally they weren't that great. But it's the other way around. Usually the book's better, right?
Yeah, my hardcover collection was just getting too big, and I got rid of some. Much like VHS, I liquefied my VHS collection right before it was a thing that hipsters were paying a fortune for VHS. So.
Well, I've never sold a VHS for a good amount of money yet, so it's still pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah, some of those big boxes though.
All right, so that is the Michael Avallone Friday the 13th Part 3D, which was the first that came out. There's going to be a big pile next to me in a second. This should look familiar to my copy. Has a few more creases because, well, as a kid, I read them a lot.
Is that the first wave production in 86, or is it much later?
I think there's only one pressing, a piece of them, which is why they're commanding the price that they are. I'd be very shocked if there wasn't.
That was 87. The first book came out 87.
Okay. So it's right in line with after Jason lives.
This is the one that killed the line, right here.
Damn.
Why did it kill the line? Just
didn't sell.
Yeah.
Didn't sell. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean that's what it comes down to.
I mean, how does that read? It's like, and her breasts were exposed, and then she got stabbed in the chest.
Okay, well here we go. Copyright be damned. She looked around to make sure that there was no one watching, and cautiously pulled open one of the barn doors. Shafts of fading sunlight cut through the gloom within, softly illuminating the straw-strewn, packed earth floor. So that's. And then, actually, this was the launch of the line. Look at that artwork.
It's amazing.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's the most amount of copies of that one out there, and you can find copies like in not great condition for maybe $70. So that's because it did sell more. There was more copies out there. As a curiosity, this is Victor Miller's novel "Hide the Children." This was his most successful literary moment. And the thing I love about it is I really miss this. When novels were popular enough that they came with an ad for the
I've seen
book
those.
clubs in the middle.
Lauren, what can I get for this? My Freddy versus Jason novelization.
Is it a $6.99 cover price?
Yes.
$5.99.
Oh,
ouch!
Damn.
I know this doesn't tie into it, but
what about my
I've
natural born killers? My natural born killers movie novelization.
So these are the young adult novels.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's
pretty badass.
Jason's Curse. This is the bad one, The Carnival.
Oh.
I mean, not that any of them are great, but that one is a doozy. And Road Trip. Now, the thing about those novels is, if you don't know the concept, they were really riffing off of Jason Goes to Hell, not directly, but they took the idea that whoever wears the masks gets possessed by Jason.
Kind of like Jason Goes to Hell.
Sort of, but it's not even Jason really passing through bodies.
Yeah,
if you wear the mask, you're Jason. You don't change physically or anything.
Maybe they should have done this with Behind the Mask. Maybe they should have just like cranked out a bunch of novels.
Really. And as Jay just showed you,
yeah.
Which I always hated all the key art for this movie, all of it. that Mask and Freddy's face shot that we got in the U.S. as the key poster art, it looks like a third grader drew it to me. It's awful. Like any art school, they could have found a kid for $50 to do better. I just don't get it.
I mean, that cover for that novelization is pretty damn cool. It's simple. It doesn't have to be anything fancy.
Here's something I don't have all of, and I really wish I'd bought from Borders when they were available, but the Black Flame novels. But these were awesome because I'll tell you what, they got real writers, like real fiction writers involved in the line. So Scott Phillips, actually, I'm doing that out of order. So the Jason X novelization, which I love the fact that if you compare novelization of the original, right, in thickness,
Jesus.
right, and then Jason X by a real writer.
Yep.
Jesus.
Now, Lauren, let me ask you: when they did novelizations, were they looking for a certain kind of page count?
Well, so those books were always very tightly controlled as far as what they wanted to spend on production. So yeah, I mean, they wanted them to come in under 70,000 words, but I mean, they weren't. If you came in at 71, they weren't going to bite your tongue on it if they thought the project was worth it.
What I'm saying is, if you wanted to take that script and be Dostoevsky, they wouldn't have liked that.
No, that would not have been acceptable. This was the first Jason X sequel, which again, and that's also by Pat Carden. And then here's the thing: Planet of the Beast is one of two that written by Nancy Kilpatrick, who's been on the show, Go back and watch that talk. Nancy also bought a story for me forever ago for an anthology, so she's definitely a friend. She's good people. So the other novel she wrote in this line was called To the Third Power, and I don't have that one, and I need to change that. But copies for these go for an easy $80 now. So,
were you not aware of that third novel, or did so it escaped you?
I really hate to admit this, but I was a Borders junkie because Borders had a horror section. Barnes & Noble did not.
Yes.
So every week I was in Borders. And the thing is, I bought something every week. And I can remember these books coming out. I can remember being there, multiple copies, and I just didn't bite on that last title. I just didn't. And I can't tell you what I bought instead, but there it is.
Yeah, I've been to Barnes & Noble a bunch of times over the years. I had never noticed it.
Well, Barnes now has a horror section again, but the problem they have is each manager gets to decide what's in it. There is no planogram for the section. So it becomes very odd that in certain stores, Scott Smith is in the horror section, and other stores he's not. In some stores, Dracula is in the horror section, and other stores, Stoker is in the literary fiction. I would say you probably have enough copies of Dracula in the store for both, but what do I know? Because I've seen it either or.
What about when they put Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas in nonfiction?
That's got to be a crime.
That's interesting.
It's sort of journalism.
It kind of is, but a lot of it is not,
that thing is
real.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, I miss Borders horror section. I used to love it, and yeah.
Yeah, I've been to Borders, but I've never bought anything.
Look, Borders was great because every time I went in there, it's the late 90s, early 2000s, all the newest Anchor Bay DVDs were in there. It was like, here's 3 discs Suspiria for $55 because you always paid $40 over the price.
Okay.
But they carried them all, every Anchor Bay title, and so they're a friend of the horror fan in there.
But that was just DVD get started too. Yeah, jeez.
They always had the something weird little, not a lot, but they'd always have a little section.
Not as good as it is today.
But they even had like a little documentary section, and that's where I got John Carpenter, the man, the myth, the monsters, or like weird, hour-long documentaries that you would never find anywhere. I guess Amazon, but I didn't even know about Amazon back then. So
yeah,
it existed, but it wasn't as big as it is today.
And real quick, non-horror themed, Borders was an excellent place to take a first date, always, because you could find out what their tastes were. You could have a coffee, and if you didn't like them, you just left.
Oh, God.
Wow.
That's a good strategy.
Listen, I think bookstores tell you a lot about people. When you want to meet someone just as a friend or whatever, bookstores are a great place because you know what you're going to talk about.
If they go straight for Dean Koontz, you got to drop them.
I might not be in a position to say anything about that.
If they go for J.K. Rowling, that's fine.
Cornelius, let me ask you something. You've seen The Shining, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask you this: why is it in the opening scene when Jack Nicholson's sitting to wait to talk to the guy to be, to apply for the job? Why is he reading a Playgirl magazine in the lobby?
Oh man,
I don't know. Is that in the book?
No,
but it's in the movie. Why, Lauren? Why did Kubrick give him a Playgirl magazine?
Do you want the answer?
Well, I think I know, but I want to make sure.
He's curious.
Because it was a less enlightened time about homosexual issues to begin with. Let's just say that before I go on.
Oh yeah.
Second of all, the Shining, the film, is about a man who molests his son. That's what the movie is about. Rewatch the scene where he forces Danny to sit on his lap, and then watch what Kubrick hard cuts to, and it kind of becomes crystal clear what the movie's really about.
You mean the two shot of them?
When he picks him up, puts him on his lap, and he says, "I love you, Danny. I love." And Danny's like, shell shocked out of his mind. We hard cut from that to Danny walking with his shirt torn up to Wendy, and that scene is actually out of order, intentionally.
Is that the one when he's wearing the Mickey Mouse shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
I remember that.
I mean, there's a bunch of stuff there. I mean, the truth is, like, the woman in the room, this sexual figure being presented to a young boy. I mean, the movie is not being subtle about this. That Kubrick's version, not King's version, is about childhood sexual abuse.
Are they implying that this abuse happened prior to the hotel?
Yep.
Or okay?
Yep, because breaking his arm is a euphemism.
Gotcha.
And Wendy knows. Wendy completely knows. That's why it's about the psychology of the man. It's about everything's a maze. Everything in that movie is a maze because Danny has built a maze so he doesn't have to deal with it. Wendy's is trapped in mazes that she can't figure out or get through. Ultimately, when Danny goes under the hedgerows to just get out of the maze, that's the climax of the film. Has nothing to do with Jack at that point. It's that he escapes the trap. That's the thematics of the film, not the book. Important to say, not the book. And I think this is why King hates the film, because the subtext was completely changed to something that he probably felt really uncomfortable with, because he said, I mean, look at who that book is dedicated to.
He wrote it.
Do you know the dedication to that book?
His son?
Yeah, to Joe Hill, who shines on. So how uncomfortable is it to dedicate a book to your son and then have a guy make a movie in which is about childhood sexual abuse? I mean,
God.
I know a lot of people complained about Shelley Duvall, but the idea was that, at least not in the book, but in the movie, is that you completely believe that Shelley Duvall would stay in a loveless, abusive marriage.
And that's the thing King always says. Well, Jack Nicholson already looked insane by the time the movie began, and Kubrick would be like, "Well, yeah, look what he's doing."
For Stephen King to pretty much for all what he's done, it's like, for Kubrick, he's been holding a grudge against Kubrick for 40 years. Half those years he's been dead. I'm like, am I making sense?
Yeah. You're making perfect sense. I think, to be fair, though, you're talking early in a writer's career. Yeah. You know, De Palma had been pretty faithful, except for the crucifixion at the end. I think he was just in a place where he thought he was going to be treated really well by Hollywood, and then this guy comes along and makes his own film.
There's another aspect. If you look at most of Kubrick's adaptations, and I think with the exception of his first film, they're all adaptations, he was pretty... Clockwork Orange has followed pretty close. Barry Lyndon has followed pretty close. So it's like, I think King thought, oh, he's going to do an adaptation of my novel. And then he got in there and was like, what is this?
Yeah. I got a book about that, about Kubrick's filmography, which pretty damn cool.
Yeah. But he was pretty faithful to the books. I mean, he would change some things, like when he did Dr. Strangelove, which is a film I know Lauren just got a 4K of from Stone. He meant to make a serious movie, and then he realized this is so absurd. How can this be serious? Like, we're gonna blow ourselves up. So he made it a comedy. So,
how do you guys feel about The Shining?
To me, it's not a bad movie. It's got some issues, but it is what it is.
I'm probably the worst person to ask about this because I'm all about mood and atmosphere, and that movie's all about mood and atmosphere, so I'm good.
Yeah.
I probably give it too much credit.
I think it actually works better at home than it does in the theater. I've seen it in I've gone back and seen it in the theater. There's something about the composition of the film which is perfect for TV and not for the movie theater screen, because it's not a wide film. I mean, it was shot like pretty much for TV, and so when you see it like at home, I think it plays so much scarier because it's about something that is home. You know what I mean? It's about the home.
Mm-hmm.
Just a reminder: if you want to come on the show, you're absolutely invited. But I need your camera on and your mic on. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Before I bring you in.
The Shining, I feel like I'm probably never going to watch The Shining again. It's not that I don't like it. It's not that I don't appreciate it as a good film. I really love the cinematography, but I don't know, man. I really think people have it on a pedestal, and I don't really think it deserves to be on a pedestal.
I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, to me, I think it's a movie you have to watch a bunch of times to really understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it depends on what you want out of your horror movies, and that's not saying you can't want a bunch of different things because we're all complex people, but that movie is really specifically almost like putting yourself in a trance. It's not about plot at all, really, because nothing happens in the movie. When you get down to it, until the third act, nothing happens in that movie.
Yep.
But because of the visuals and the constant symmetrical framing, it really kind of has a hypnotic effect on some people, and I'm one of those people. Do I watch it often? No. Have I upgraded from my DVD? No, because I get the value out of what I have.
The 4K looks great. I love the fact that just from a filmmaking point of view, the fact that it's all on sets. And so you have to think, well, how on earth did they get those blinding snow lights through, Jack's study? It's because they had, 100 million watt bulbs just blasting through there. And that's kind of exciting. The fact that, a lot of people remember like the horror set pieces. Whenever I think of The Shining, I think of the Steadicam following Danny on the tricycle. I mean, who, as a little kid, any of us that, our age, if we had a big wheel, we would love to go through the Overlook Hotel on our big wheels. And just that sound, rug, floor. I mean, that kind of stuff. Just
exactly.
I love that kind of stuff.
I do too.
It's definitely a film about being inside a person's head. It's not a question. The hotel is a human brain. It just is.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting because if you watch the film really closely, there's constantly all this impossible geography inside the hotel as well. There's rooms that can go nowhere because they lead outside. There's the office manager's office does not appear out of window when it should be visible.
Right.
There's a bunch of stuff that's very intentional to tell you that you're not in a real place.
Yeah. So real quick, just to kind of give a little tag, when Dr. Sleep came out, how do we feel about that?
I enjoyed it. My mom didn't really get it.
I actually
And
really
she loves The Shining.
Well, bring your mom on. We'll find out what she thinks.
Oh, God. She's not really a movie going like myself, though.
Cam, did you ever see the director's cut of that?
I started it. I really want to watch it because I like the whole concept of it. I think what I've seen of it looks like, wow, they actually like tried to make a real film here. That makes me happy. I was kind of disturbed, probably a little too much by Danny like having like one night stands with like little kids like sitting around cocaine and like passed out.
Oh God, the opening scene.
I was like, oh, this is because I have a little 2-year-old at home. I was kind of just it was just the wrong moment. But I loved it, and I love the idea that look, they took it all into account. It's like there's no hotel in the book, but it didn't burn down in the movie, so we're gonna put it in the movie. And I like the fact that they did walk that tightrope and not stupidly. They wisely used the Overlook Hotel from what was that? Ready Player One as a test to see.
Yes, I love that scene.
That's the only good scene in the whole movie. Ready Player One. But
I agree with that.
Yeah, because when they walk in through those doors, I'm sure Lauren too. I mean, my mouth dropped. I was like, "Oh my God, they're here!"
Cam, you know what the interesting thing is? When I watched Ready Player One in the theater, I had that reaction. I was like, "We're in The Shining. We're in The Shining." When I saw Dr. Sleep, we got to the Overlook Hotel and I went, "Fuck, I don't want to care. I don't even care about this."
Yeah, it's got some third act problems. I think
it has lots of third act problems.
Towards the end, it's kind of predictable, but it's still it's likable. One
of the problems that occurs right at the crux of the second to third act is from the novel, and you can't blame the filmmaker. I mean, they went with the story that's in the novel that I have issues with. But then that whole third act becomes cosplay and kind of fan service in a film that had resisted that up to then.
Yeah.
The opening scene with Wendy, Alex Esso is pretty amazing in it though. So you and that never looks as good as it does right there. Like the cosplay later looks bad compared to that early scene.
But don't you think Rebecca Ferguson's pretty solid casting though?
Oh no, let me tell you, the first two acts, I thought I was unexpectedly getting a film that I was going to put on my top 10 of that year. And then the third act happened, and I was like, I guess not. But
I haven't gotten to that yet. So I'm assuming that's where the hotel kicks in.
Yeah, but there's stuff even before that that's problematic. And I don't mean problematic as like, social justice warriors use that word. I mean it like there's stuff that just doesn't really make sense. Like any reasonable person wouldn't make choices that these people make.
Now, I understand the director's cut does kind of help out with some of those things. I don't know if it's those particular things, but I heard it smooths out a lot of rough edges. So,
well, I mean, one of them is just a plot point that you can't get around. Characters do something, but they don't protect themselves while they do it. They which is just asinine, considering they know the powers of the villains. So, I don't want to really spoil the movie, but it's when you get to that scene, you'll know what I'm saying. Like, really, they stayed there? Really?
So there's a lot of pedophilia in there too, even more than The Shining.
So even because
if you're into
that baseball kid, it's like, I can't even.
Now, Lauren, I know you're.
Freak me out.
I know you're really big into horror adjacent, and so am I. And it just kind of dawned on me because I just got this on 4K as well. I don't know why I got it on 4K because I'm a masochist, I guess. But Requiem for a Dream, I think, is probably one of the best horror films in the last 30 years.
Yes.
I can't. I'm not going to watch it again.
I would say Requiem for a Dream and the frozen baby sequence from Train Spotting are the biggest horror adjacent moments ever.
I've heard of Train Spotting, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
Train Spotting is the weirdest movie because you're laughing at parts, you're kind of tense at parts, and there's a dead baby frozen to a chair leg. You're like, what?
It puts you through the ringer.
I think the only thing I remember about that is that Iggy Pop video.
Yeah, but you got to see Requiem for a Dream, my friend, and maybe watch it back to back with kids. And then,
and afterwards you can watch Pi because it'll have the same effect Pi always has on people.
I have 3 nephews. I ain't gonna let them watch that shit.
Well,
sticking with Jason, Freddy.
I got the 4K of Requiem too, and I watched that again. First time probably in like 8 years, and oh god, when you get towards the end. I mean, it will depress you. You will be depressed.
But the whole film is like, it's shot like a horror film. The whole movie. Yeah. I mean, all that stuff with Ellen Burstyn and the refrigerator coming after her and stuff.
Watch Labyrinth first, then watch Requiem.
Yeah,
it's the best. Just say no PSA ever made.
Pretty much.
Well, while we're on Kubrick, I wanted to show this off real quick.
Ooh.
The third
Odyssey
book written
3.
by Arthur C. Clarke, who co-wrote the screenplay to the film.
Not particularly well-received book, but
I thought it was
is that a sequel to 2010?
Childhood's End is I think a masterwork that everyone should read in their teens. So Clarke is, he's a guy. He's the real deal.
I still think they should just go for it and just do one more, and just so that we get the 2001 trilogy.
But who would you have directed? That becomes
there's only 2 names right now that would have the clout to getting the budget to do it properly, and that would either be Denis Villeneuve or Nolan. Those are the only 2 that could get. They have a Kubrick feel.
I would trust Nolan with it. I really would. He'd bloat it, but the other 2 films are bloated anyway, so whatever.
Oh God!
I mean, the thing about 2010 is the movie I actually like, but for a movie that's supposed to look forward to the future, it's so 1984.
Yeah.
In its politics. I don't mean 1984 Orwell. I'm talking about Americans versus Russians with Helen Mirren in that accent.
Of course, McPhail using it as his theme over his career.
But Peter Hyams did the appropriate thing. He actually asked Kubrick's permission to can I make this and you're not gonna trash it, right? And he said, yeah, go ahead, I don't care. So
and for what it is, it's a lot better than it probably has any right to be.
Yeah.
It's not terrible.
It's not bad, but
listen, the first film is a slog. It's just a slog when you get to until you get to Hal, really. I mean, as a villain, the film is pretty friggin' slow. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's masterful, but it's slow.
Yeah.
I would argue that was kind of the point.
And I think you're right.
Yeah.
But I think for the modern viewers who have been conditioned by 30 years of MTV editing, it's going to get harder for that movie to maintain its place in our culture. It's not going to get easier.
When a movie like that comes out today, do you think it's like a PG-13, or R-rated film? Because it came out as a G.
It's still
2001.
It's still a G.
I mean, if it comes out today, like
Does
PG.
anything get a G today?
PG probably.
Yeah.
PG. Okay, I can think that 2010 was like that in '84.
I so have this dream in my head that because I don't care about Disney or Pixar at all, but I
Yeah.
so have a dream in my head that they'll make a Toy Story 5 or 8 or whatever they're up to.
Oh,
And just in the middle of the film, they'll drop an F-bomb just to see what the MPAA will do.
It'd probably slip.
I saw Toy Story 4 last year.
I-
and-
I always thought Lucas should have done that with Revenge of the Sith. Just that last one, just make it R-rated, go out strong.
Mm.
Oh man, I mean, I actually think that's what Star Wars needs badly. Just get it out of your blood, because all the fans are not going to be happy until Rogue One just should have been their R-rated film, and they just should have made it a bloodbath.
Yeah.
Sex scenes, bloodbath, all of it. And the fans would have gotten it out of their system, and they could have had the nice, clean Disney films. That's fine. I still think those films, as bad as they are
It's
way
Kathleen
better than the
Kennedy.
prequels.
She's one of the many problems with that franchise. Now.
Here's a real quick. The thing about her is that she's a great producer if you have a strong filmmaker, but she's not a creative producer. She's hey, I need X amount of money for this producer. They're asking her to come up with the stories. That's the problem.
If you need someone who has a dry cleaner who has kids that'll bring them to the set after dark, you need to hire her.
Yeah, no, Geeks and Games are tore up like crazy. Y'all know how Geeks Games.
Yeah, but see, I almost feel like that it's unfair. I mean, I just picked on her pretty hardcore and probably the nastiest way that anyone has. But here's the thing: I think Star Wars is just such a big thing. I think even the people quote in charge of it aren't in charge of it. I think there's so many voices from so many corporate positions. I think that Rogue One is kind of a small miracle, because that film, I think, is a legitimately good film.
And it had 2 directors.
Yeah, and it works. But no, to me, there's 2 good films in the whole franchise. Empire and that's it. So, I mean, for me, I would never want that job.
No.
I don't know how they're going to manage. What do they have, like 12 new series coming? I mean,
Yeah, they got the Mandalorian and
well, that's that and the Boba Fett show is going to be huge. So
I mean, I'd rather watch this new material than another new movie.
Like I'd rather watch Planet of the Apes at this point.
I would just like them to and this is not just Star Wars. This is a lot of things. I would really like them just to tell new stories at some point with new characters in a new timeline that don't have to use one character as a spin-off. It's just, it seems so lazy and safe, right? Oh, you guys like this guy because he has cool armor. We're gonna make a whole series about him.
Well,
it's kind of like
granted he was not in any of the films though.
They want to go. I mean, they've been wanting them to go back to that Knights of the Old Republic, that 1,000 years earlier, so they don't deal with that. But we'll see. But Planet of the Apes, Jay. I mean that new trilogy that came out a while back. I thought that was. I thought that was good.
That's what he was
awesome.
about.
Listen a little closer to that audio.
Okay.
He's talking about my favorite trilogy.
Yeah, that was a movie I watched War the other day, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I'm kind of glad there aren't any monkeys in Hayden's favorite trilogy. With that
Oh my god!
I think that would go bad.
Yeah.
So actually, that's a really good transition. Now I don't want to steal thunder because this is going to get discussed later. in the week, but let's talk Kong versus Godzilla, and yes, that is the proper order.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch the trailer?
I did, and it looks fun. I still think it's gonna be a fun movie if you're a fan of that.
In movie pundit world, they're saying it's the most exciting trailer in years. So I haven't watched it yet, though.
That's a bold statement.
I know Pizzo didn't like it.
It's a well cut together trailer. It's not as good as the King of the Monsters trailer.
Yeah,
the main trailer, that was a masterpiece of editing.
What did you think of the movie, though?
I love that film.
The Dotery film.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to poke my eye out with a stick. I hated it so much.
Oh god.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you rather say that Godzilla '98 film again? Or
Matthew
Listen,
I mean-
I'll defend Hayden here. That's not fair.
yeah,
He might be wrong about King of the Monsters, but that's not fair.
I wasn't talking about King of Monsters, like the newer Godzilla versus the
You're talking about Matthew
Godzilla from the late
Broderick.
'90s.
Yeah, no, I know. I
That
think
movie is absolute trash.
Yeah, it's so predictable and so boring. I'm like,
Yeah.
No,
they
it's
hyped the hell out of that movie.
it's
too.
just based off Lost World. They were just trying to do another Jurassic Park.
yeah, when you have Jean Reno and you can't figure out what to do with them, that's a problem.
Lost World, baby.
They even two of the characters, aren't they called like Siskel and Ebert, like in the movie too?
Yeah.
I think you're right, man.
So bad.
The Rip Tracks did that movie a few years ago, and I couldn't. I'd leave. I fucking hate that movie so much. It wasn't even worth their commentary.
Lost
So
World.
before we get into a defense/attack of the new film of King of the Monsters in the new film, what did you see the trailer, Hayden?
I watched some of it on accident on Instagram, but I'm trying to avoid watching the whole thing just so I can go in blind. But
Now,
I don't
Jay,
mind
you're
if we
not
talk
watching
about
it?
it.
I'm not going to watch it if I can
Dan,
help it.
I'm gonna watch.
Dan,
I'm gonna watch the trailer right now.
Dan, I know you watched it because you did it on the air.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I'm excited for it. It's one that I really want to see in a theater. That might finally break my drought. Maybe I'll just chance it and say to hell with it. But there were a couple little things. I mean, I know this is very nitpicky, but that didn't look finished when Godzilla hits the water, and it's the effect doesn't look finished. You kind of see if you look closely. I'm sure most people didn't spot it, but I really enjoyed the last film. I loved Kong Skull Island. I'm excited for this one. I'm not blockbusters lately, not so much, but this one I have high hopes for.
So I find it really interesting because I think this new, I'm going to call it a trilogy because I think that's all we're getting out of it, really is made for a group of fans who grew up with the Showa era in particular.
I can see that.
And if you didn't grow up with the Showa era in a time period where you weren't looking at them as old, ancient films, you probably don't have the same perspective on them. Because one of the things I hear all the time is, oh, they spend too much time with the people. I came to watch monsters. The Showa era had less monsters in any given film than the new ones, including the first in this series. So it's a weird, like, selective memory, or perhaps people are imparting what they want out of the movies from where they're standing rather than what it is. Does that make sense to anyone? Because Godzilla was way important to me. I mean, between the ages of 9 and 14, I don't think there was a day that went by that I did not think about Godzilla at some point during the day. Period.
Do you have an all-time favorite Godzilla film? I don't think I've heard you talk Godzilla before.
As an adult, the original is the 54 is. I got to tell you though, King of the Monsters may overtake it. It really may.
It could.
If I'm not mistaken, they did more Godzilla movies than Kong movies.
Oh yeah, a lot more.
That's
yeah.
what I thought.
Yeah, the original, when you consider it was what, eight years I think after the bombs dropped.
Yeah.
So that's quite an amazing movie to watch considering when it was made. It really is. I love my Criterion Blu-ray. That one.
That is a great disc.
Yeah.
Again, I don't care about the supplemental material, but the movie looks fantastic.
Mm.
Yeah, King Kong series says I haven't seen, but I want to see because it is.
Jessica Lange.
If I'm not mistaken, pretty much put that back on the map.
I just watched it. So
okay.
What's your name, Sam?
I don't know why people would complain about it or anyone's complaining about it because it looks exactly like what you'd want to see in a movie called Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not Shakespeare, folks. You know.
And I will tell you, people, that there's going to be another trailer that's from Godzilla's standpoint, from a point of view, coming next month. So for all the people saying, "Oh, it looks like they made him into the villain," which, by the way, the plot will take care of anyway. But you're going to get another trailer that's the other side of it.
Have you seen it?
No.
Oh, you got that inside.
That little girl. I'm like, what?
No,
listen,
I can tell you. I can tell you certain things just because I understand how drama works. Seeing the trailer, I can tell you that you've seen very little Godzilla. You think you've seen far more Godzilla than you've seen,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll just leave it at that.
Dan mentioned it looking like it was unfinished in parts, and I heard the same thing about Wonder Woman. So what's going on over it?
Well, Wonder Woman looks a lot worse.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman's bad.
I mean, what's up with that? Just cutting corners
That's
financially?
my favorite film of the year.
I got chewed out because
Stop.
I have a friend that's diehard superhero fan, but I watched it, and again, I wanted to like it. I mean, I don't go into anything hoping, to hate it, but I thought that was even worse than The Reputation. At number one, the 2 hours and 31 minutes, you could lose an hour. You could easily lose an hour. That entire opening you could have cut out.
I'm sleeping through that thing.
Yeah.
I think that movie has 35 minutes worth of usable footage. That's the problem.
Hell, I want to watch Casino than that because I know Casino's right on the same time length.
I like
Wonder Woman is getting a 4K release, like on disc. So
it'll do well. Listen, everyone hated Batman versus Superman and Justice League, but they bought it.
They all bought it. Yeah.
Wow, that's because Batman vs Superman had a better director's cut on there.
Yeah, but even the original cut when it came out did really well.
Jesse Eisenberg
they bought it.
Jesse Eisenberg playing Lex Luthor. That was a terrible choice, but whatever.
Yes, but in the director's cut, they acknowledged that he's Lex Luthor's son, not Lex Luthor. So they managed to get around that.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, was Bryan Cranston supposed to play Lex Luthor, or was it just a movie?
They offered it to him, and he said no.
I would have rather.
Oh God, that would have been cool, man.
Yeah,
he would have had that Heisenberg feel to it.
That's why he said no.
I understand. He was pleased doing that.
You know who actually? I mean, if you're going to take liberties with the character and not going to make him, the bald Lex Luthor that everyone's. If you're going to take liberties, you get yourself someone like a Robert Redford who only does things if he really wants to do it, and you'd have that kind of gravity to the role.
I didn't even thought of Robert Redford. Shit.
I mean, he'll come out of retirement to do things. It's just on his terms.
Yeah.
But again, listen, if you own one of these properties that the whole world knows forward and back, and you're not spending the money to get it right on the page, or if you're being so overbearing to your writers that they can't get it on the page, you're already lost. And I think that's the problem with these things.
And let me tell you what looks awesome is that Nobody movie. You guys seen the trailer for that?
Nobody.
It's Bob Odenkirk.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Yes. The Revenge. Oh
yeah, that actually looks kind of interesting.
I don't watch trailers, but they kind of played this when I was there, so I was kind of forced to watch it. So
I did see that trailer for that new Denzel Washington movie, Little Things or something.
Yeah. Oh, that looks great to me. That I'm getting Serious 7 vibes off that, and Denzel is one of my favorite actors. I may venture out this week for that. I didn't get out to the Wrong Turn remake, but
I got 7 vibes from the trailer of Kiss the Girls, and I was that did not land for me.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think Denzel would let that happen. I mean, besides virtuosity.
Speaking of Denzel, did you hear about? They're doing an Equalizer TV show with Queen Latifah.
Fine. Yeah. It was a TV show.
Yeah, nah, it's not going to last long.
Are you kidding me? Queen Latifah, she's a great actress when she wants to.
I know she is, but that's just
imagine her with a nail gun. Come on, it's going to work.
That could be. I'd check it out. The pilot.
She's still acting?
Yeah, man.
So if you really want to blow your mind, to just take the end of Equalizer in the hardware store. Just take that sequence. Just watch each of the scenes where he stalks down one of the terrorist bad guys, right? Every one of them steals its framing from the sequence in Jason X where Jason hunts down the Marines. I'm dead serious.
I haven't thought of that.
Watch it. It's exact. It's like
Jesus.
Are you accusing Antoine Fuqua of stealing?
That was second unit. That was second unit. There was no way that was first unit. But dead serious. It's to the point where you got to think they used them as video storyboards.
Probably.
It's too close.
Denzel might have one of the best records. There's not a lot of crap on his filmography.
Besides virtuosity, there's nothing.
Yeah,
that movie's not terrible. I mean,
I don't think I've heard of that movie.
it's not good, but it's not terrible though.
Virtuosity's pretty bad.
What is that movie about?
Russell Crowe's in it.
Russell Crowe's hologram sort of thing. It's been a while, but he's the villain, and it's just to shoot him up. I mean, it's bad for Denzel Washington.
What about
It's cheesy.
Deja Vu, the Tony Scott film?
What about Man on Fire?
No.
Banning.
I like Man on
Great
Fire.
I actually like that movie.
That's a remake too.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I think my favorite two. Well, the two actors I think are the best actors on the planet at the moment are Gary Oldman and Denzel Washington. I think the two of them.
Oldman, oh yeah.
And I would love to see a film that pitted the two of them against each other, like a Heat situation.
Oh yeah.
That's
What about John David?
And we have Gary Oldman be the good guy in this one, though.
he can do it though. That's the thing. Gary Oldman is not just a villain. He can do both sides.
Well,
Yeah.
when you see him
Look at him in Harry Potter films. He's amazing in them.
But also, if you look at his Jim Gordon in the Dark Knight trilogy, like it's such a you would think that role would be like no nuance to it, but he brought so much nuance to it that you believed him.
It made
as a
you
real
care
person.
about him.
Yeah,
it made you care about him. That's a great point.
Oldman though is one though that's starting to do some of these like really cheap VOD Eastern European action flicks.
Yeah, it was kind of
recently that
quick money.
Yeah, no, he is, but unfortunately now he's not a sure thing anymore.
Well, he's always good in them, but
he is, yeah.
The films. But the thing is, he's trying to get his own directorial efforts off the ground. That's where he's doing this.
Yeah,
I mean, he's raising money for his own stuff because that's where his career is at. He doesn't have to prove anything as an actor anymore.
No.
I mean,
I would argue by 1995 he didn't need to he didn't need to show off his. He was already like a god to all of us. I mean, anyone who can do just in 2 years' time, Lee Harvey Oswald, Dracula, and the Pimp in True Romance. It's like, come on.
Don't forget Air Force One.
Yeah, but that's 95.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I freaking love the fact that when asked, well, did you study punk rock to get ready to make Sid and Nancy? He's like, no, not really. I'd seen some on the news. What?
That movie would give you damn. Oh, I can't even say it.
I love Sid and Nancy.
That's one of the most disgusting movies I've ever seen, but I love it.
There's so much about that movie that's right, even if historically it's wrong. It's a fable. It's a beautiful fable, and it's the best thing Alan Cox ever got to do. Not the best thing he probably would have done if money had stayed in his corner.
Alex Cox or Alan Cox?
Alex.
He got fired off Fear and Loathing.
Oh wow! Because he did Repo Man.
Yep.
And listen, we all like
Man's
Repo
awesome.
Man, but we all like it. But I mean, as a filmmaking achievement, I gotta go.
Do you think Sid and Nancy? Because there's this revisionist going out there now that it should have been Courtney Love in the lead role because she was there on set.
Well, she's in the movie.
Sid and Nancy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's in the movie.
And she's a great actress. I don't care. Listen, I'm a Courtney Love lover. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I think she's the best modern lyricist we got, and no one.
She's a weird human being, but it is what I like her for.
But let me ask you something. So I've always asked this though. This is where I don't cry sexism often. You may have noticed. However, Keith Richards can admit to snorting his father's ashes, right? And we don't think of him in these terms. We don't have people throwing like, oh, that guy's one of the worst human beings ever. Courtney Love has a drug problem. People throw around like, oh, she murdered Kurt. I mean, it's stupid. I don't think
she did. Because
no, she clearly didn't. But
no.
I think the argument is that she drove him to want to do that, not that she actually pulled the trigger.
No,
I don't buy that for a second.
I think Kurt Cobain pretty much was by himself when he pulled the trigger.
Definitely,
because he let the what is that, like a rehab center 2 days earlier.
He tried to kill himself a month earlier in Italy.
And when
there's so much you'd have to get through to have this. But by the way, the alternative rock generation just wanted their Yoko Ono, so they created one.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine, but you take the music. Courtney was an incredible, if simple, songwriter.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
there's nothing simple about the lyrics, but there's something. But the music itself, yeah, it was 2-chord, 3-chord rock and roll. I have no problem with that.
Although Nick Broomfield, I love that documentary. And Kurt and Courtney, it's pretty wild.
It's just like when that box set was coming, that Nirvana box set was coming out, and the press made her out to be this big villain. When the band wanted to include songs that no one had a part of the writing on except Kurt, and it's like all she wanted is them to come to her and say, "Hey, can we do this?" They just ignored her.
And they just
we're the band. We can do what we want. Well, no, she's part of the band now. That's how that works.
And Dave Wolves, I think is the drummer, has issues with her. That's still going on to this day.
Correct.
It's like, come on.
Well, that's just it.
This piece of shit.
If Dave Grohl were to die today, would he not want his family to have the rights to his songwriting?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, this is not crazy stuff. I'm not saying Courtney's a saint. Obviously, she is not. However, no one in Hollywood and no one in entertainment is who you think they are anyway.
Yeah, she was just weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
no one on this broadcast is weird.
She did that magazine interview while she was smoking and she was pregnant at the time.
We're men of culture.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the magazine, but it was like early 90s.
You know what? I'm pretty sure that like Ozzy Osbourne probably did an interview where he bit the head off of something. Okay, I'm not all that worried about it.
Yes, but for that, baby.
Courtney was.
Oh, wait! We got an answer here. Rock music forever is 90 cents.
Oh, I knew it.
Man, 3 years old. Case.
Oh no!
It's all done.
Lauren, I want to know why you like Godzilla King of the Monsters. Did you like the first one where it was like all story with like 2 minutes of Godzilla in it?
Well, no, this is like 12 minutes of Godzilla, which is about what you got in the original film. No, here's the thing. I think it's easy to shit on the movies for what you want them to be, but they're Godzilla films. Kong is a Godzilla film. By the way, the legendary version of King Kong is the Toho version of King Kong. It is not the Fay Ray King Kong.
There's so many versions of it, I don't even know.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, and again, if you want what you want or whatever, then you're not going to necessarily get it. I mean, people have problems with human characters and human characters having connections with the kaiju. Well, that's from the source material. I don't know what to tell you. Like all that comes up a lot in the Showa era, and that's what this is. I think if they get past this trilogy, we'll probably get the Heisei era, which will be interesting. But right now, they're doing those innocent films from 54 to 62. I mean, that's what we're getting right now, and I love it. It's what I saw in my head as a kid.
So we got 2 Godzilla films, and then now he's meeting Kong. We only got 1 Kong film, right? The Skull Island one.
Right. Which is precisely how the originals worked.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you had 2 Godzilla films and then Godzilla versus King Kong, and you only had the 1 Kong film at the time.
Not Son of Kong? It wasn't even...
Well, he's not in it, though.
That's true.
I do love Son of Kong, though. Too short. That's a film that could use an extra 10 minutes, but...
10 years ago, I never thought a film like this would happen. Just because of, the rights holders.
Yeah. It's a good point. It's a very good point. I'd even say, like, people always said, well, they can't do a lot with Godzilla now if they can't do something like Gigan. And I'm going to tell you, I think they can now. If they pull this off, why not? It sounds silly, but there has to be a take that would work.
I think so. Did any of you get the Gamera box set?
No.
That's the oh no.
I wanted it, but just didn't have the coin.
I still don't have the beautiful Criterion Godzilla set that you surely will pull off a wall when I mention it. Dan.
I got both, but barely got the Gamera one. That was like gone, and everybody was going nuts. It just you couldn't buy it; it was sold out. But yeah, I haven't actually dove into the Godzilla one yet, but I've heard some people complain about that release.
By Criterion standards?
Well, that the transfers weren't up to par with what was already out, I guess. So I got it as a Christmas gift. So
there, I have a Jacques Demy Criterion set, right? Umbrellas of Cherbourg, those kind of thing. His first movie, Lola, there's one print available, and it's like it got burned in a fire. So like literally like half the screen is like black and with stuff all over it. Criterion put it out saying, "Hey, it's the only way we can release it, folks." And people were like, "Oh, okay." I mean, they were upfront about it, you know. But.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's better to see it. I mean, can't blame them for that.
Yeah, it's not their fault. But I love when like you hear, "Oh, this movie was found in an abandoned Norwegian mental institution closet or something like that." You know, we found one print of Joan of Arc.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
Yeah, no, it's crazy what some of the companies have managed to find that supposedly was gone. But yeah, no, the Gamera set though is really good. I mean, I can't imagine what it's going for now, but I was impressed by that.
And I think that's something that could hypothetically happen with Legendary. I could see them making that deal and a Godzilla versus Gamera film happening. I could see it happening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if in the.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm really glad they finally signed the deal for the Avengers to fight Godzilla. What year is that? Like 2025? They said that's coming out.
What?
The Avengers versus Godzilla.
What are you talking about?
He's
pulling one on us.
Yeah,
okay.
I am. I'm just joking. They may as well. I mean, there's so many Godzilla versus movies.
It did happen in the original Marvel Godzilla comic, though.
In that, yeah.
Well, there you go. Maybe it'll happen, Hayden.
I don't want it to. I was just joking. No. But I could totally see them doing that.
Well, Disney now owns Fox, so if there's anything in the Fox library, they could have the Avengers fight Alien.
Oh, no. Oh.
You put it out there into the world now, Hayden. I think you damned us all.
Is your name Tittles and Beer?
Titties.
Oh, I was going to say, it doesn't...
Lonnie Carrington.
Oh, okay.
That Gamera set's going for $375 on eBay.
Damn. Oh.
That's why you always buy one for you and one for eBay.
No.
Cam, his name now is Tittles and Beer.
Okay.
I changed it for you.
Beautiful.
Hideous. Tittles. God.
So
from now on, you are Tittles, by the way.
Tittles.
Can someone explain to me what the difference between Godzilla and is it Gamera?
Gamera.
One of them is a giant turtle that flies, and one of them is not.
Are they in the same universe though?
No.
What's the difference between Godzilla and Gojira?
Yeah.
One is a metal band.
About 6,000 miles.
I don't know. There's so much that's like spin-off or whatever for Godzilla.
So we got the Criterion Godzilla, not the box set, but I got the first movie. And my wife was like, "Oh, I remember this. You should put it on." And we put it on. We watched the Japanese version. She's like, "This is really serious." I'm like, "Yes, it's supposed to be serious."
Yeah.
It's not a camp fest like the Raymond Burr version.
Yeah, no, I mean that when that Japanese restoration was first making its theatrical rounds, we went into the city, saw it at the Angelica, and it was like revolutionary to me because I thought as a kid the first film was the darkest of the bunch, but I had no idea. You know, seeing it as an adult, being like, "Oh my god!" And I love to see. That's the thing. Like when you look at the new films, putting the oxygen destroyer in King of the Monsters tells you who they made it for, because there's no way the mainstream had any idea. That was for us. That was for the hardcore Godzilla fans.
Wait, Gojira looks just like Godzilla.
That's my joke.
Oh,
Gojira
is
is
that
how
the
you say
same thing?
It's how you say Godzilla in Japanese.
Oh, see, I don't know
It's
anything
even worse
about
than that.
Godzilla.
It's even worse than that. When they brought the films over to America, they needed to find a word that sounded like Gojira for the dubbing, and someone came up with Godzilla.
And the band is great, by the way, if you haven't
And they
listened
never
to
got
it.
paid for that copyright.
No.
Your new microphone in here.
And George Takei played all the male characters in the dub for the original Godzilla.
Wow.
I look.
Yeah.
Really?
All the characters.
I'll be back in a couple minutes.
Mr. Solo.
Except
My mind
for
is blown.
except for the new material. Like if it was a Japanese character, a male character on screen, it's him.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's such a very cool.
What do you think, Jonathan, about Godzilla? Or, that's not a very good question, Lauren.
What do you think?
I think he's
he's a menace.
big and he's green.
I think it's terrible what he did to Tokyo.
We all have a bad day.
What happened when he pulled those high tension wires down?
Well, he picked
Where's
up a
Kristen
bus.
when we need him?
Bambi.
Well, he picked up a bus and then he puts it back down.
Oh man. Anyway, I didn't mean to make this whole entire show about our good friend Gojira, but I did, I think. But the other thing I wanted to mention on the show is because we've been having fun up to now, and I have to destroy that.
Oh, boy.
There was this.
Yeah, I saw 73% steak, right, on DVD.
Look at the.
Oh
the
well, no. This is the updated information. This is pretty much final numbers. So in fourth quarter, DVD and Blu-ray sales were down 27.8%, meaning the year ended down 20.46% of last year, year to year, down from last year. It's been down. Sales of physical media have been down straight for the last 10 years and down by double digits for the last 6. So whoever out there is not buying what you love, you're heading us right towards extinction real quick. Think about this.
Is those second quarter numbers.
You want me to bring it back up?
Sorry, Lauren.
No, I can bring it back up. Yep.
Do you think that's the first quarantine is the reason for that?
No, unfortunately I didn't capture up higher because there is a breakdown by week in this whole report, and there was 7 weeks where that actually outperformed the previous year. But there's 2 things to keep in mind with that. The first thing is that Lord of the Rings and Star Wars were released this year on 4K.
Okay.
And these sales are based on dollar, not units. Right? So a higher dollar price, big box sets. But the other thing is, the first 3 weeks that we were up, because it's 3 weeks, and 1 week in December, which is the week after Christmas, which we can get to in a second. The first one was definitely beginning of pandemic. And then you have big releases. And then finally you have the week after Christmas. So the interesting thing is one of the worst weeks of the year was the week of Christmas, meaning that final gift when people are searching for that person they barely know. That was always a movie buying heaven, right? Because you don't know the person very well. Hey, they like action films. I'll buy them the new Rambo flick, right? Didn't happen this year. Big time didn't happen this year. Of course, with the selection that was available at Walmart and Target, maybe it couldn't happen this year because we're beyond the period where you can order from Amazon and know you're going to have it for the holiday, right? But 7 weeks better than the previous year in an entire year is disastrous. Down 20% is disastrous. DVD gaining on percentage of overall market is disastrous. So, I mean, my plea to everyone out there, I know no one likes it, and I know the viewership always goes down whenever I talk about physical media dying, but we need to take this serious. I mean, if there's stuff coming out that you want, you need to support it now, because there is no tomorrow.
Empty Man on Blu-ray.
When?
Yeah.
I want it. I don't know.
That could come later. I know that was weird. It's not, and you did your piece on it being in Redbox, but I've noticed that with a few movies that did come out a little bit later on Blu-ray. So my fingers are crossed. I'd hate to not have a physical copy of Empty Man.
Well, yeah, I will if Jay and I have a plan. But
we're gonna raid the Redbox.
Just keep it forever.
I mean, it's DVD only on Redbox. There is no Blu-ray, but if it's have that physical copy or none, I might not be able to return it. I might have lost it.
Yeah, well, I'll
If
buy
it's
it.
built that way, you'll pay $30 for it.
You know what?
It's not like you
having it
got
all-
away with it. It's like, I got
No.
one.
No, but I'm saying, what are the options?
Maybe another country will put it out.
I've been watching like a hawk. Speaking of that, we are getting Saint Maud next week in theaters, limited.
What?
That's awesome.
Oh, finally! Oh my god!
It's also on is it the Stars Network? Their streaming service, Stars Streaming, which no one subscribes to. So
It should be good because they probably have a free trial you can use just to sneak in there and.
I have Stars. Holler at me.
look at Sword for Horror is the one guy who appreciates the physical media updates.
Yeah. It may not be happy news, but it is what it is. I mean, grab what you can.
Yeah,
I mean, streaming is one of the many reasons for its physical downfall.
The other thing I'm going to suggest to people,
I said
I'm
one of them.
really
many
serious,
reasons.
is when you see a Blu-ray player out there for less than $30, buy it. Keep it in the box. Keep it in the closet.
Okay.
You can't. I wouldn't do that shit.
Again, I appreciate anyone who wants to come on the stream. We're going to be going for another half hour or so, I think. But I need your camera and microphone on to come on the show. And
yeah, British B, trying to get in here.
Ram Ranch.
Ram Ranch.
Ram Ranch has...
Can't escape it, Corny.
Ram Ranch.
Oh, son of a bitch! Or.
Don't talk bad about his mom.
Yo, Tari.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about you down in your neck of the woods?
Not too bad. Just getting ready for bed in a little bit.
Oh,
Just
is that my dad?
Fuck yeah.
Griff,
It's not
man.
that show, Aiden.
What?
Griff, man, I'm sorry I didn't know. That's horrible, dude.
Hi, son.
What show? What?
No one gets it.
Oh.
Fuck it. All right, keep
At
going.
least you have the antibodies.
I know Coy from S'mores and Doors got it one time, which
One time.
pretty sucked.
There was that one time he had it.
Are we talking about an STD or what?
This one time when I got COVID.
COVID,
Dorona.
Oh, yeah.
Chinese virus.
Bless Corey. He's awesome. Corey's a
Um,
man.
Yeah.
So, Jonathan, besides vaping, what you doing tonight?
Oh, that's a big ass
Cooked some
cloud.
steaks on the grill, made some milkshakes, just all around
Oh.
unhealthy evening.
Wait a second. Is make some milkshake some kind of slang I don't understand?
Unfortunately, it was just milkshakes, like actual,
Warming
Yeah.
up. Da 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 da. Do do do.
So, I watched a movie today,
Oh,
a Sergio Martino film called The Scorpion with Two Tails, which is pretty hard to describe because it doesn't fit into any category whatsoever. I had bought a Spanish DVD of it because it's kind of a little bit hard to rustle up a good copy of. Turns out this copy wasn't good anyway, so what did I know? And it got me thinking about Wes Craven, as you do when you watch a Sergio Martino film.
How?
Well, it was one of those films that it came out in '82, but you could already see the cracks in the Italian film industry. There wasn't the money to really properly do what they wanted to do, and you could see it very clearly. And this is a filmmaker who, puts all the money on screen. And it started me thinking about the fact that he can't be blamed for this, but this is where my mind was going, that Wes Craven kind of harmed the business twice. First, when Nightmare on Elm Street became hugely popular, and the sequels, and particularly not so much the original film, ushered in all those jokey stoner comedies hiding as horror films. And that's all we got, and I believe that did lead to the great horror drought of the 90s. And then, of course, with Scream, then all we got was Scream replicants for 7 years. Felt like 3 popes were elected in the time it took for us to get out of that wave.
Like 15 years.
Is that his fault though, or is that just he just made a successful movie and everyone was like, "Let's make that"?
Well,
I
of
think
course,
that's the case.
I'm using blame kind of euphemistically, but certainly he was that guy that in two cases kind of, I think for the negative, ended up impacting the genre. Now, one of those is one of my favorite of his films. The original Nightmare on Elm Street I do like quite a lot. Don't like any of the sequels, but I like the original quite a lot. Scream I don't have good feelings about, really. It's fine, but it's never been my thing. It's just interesting that one figure kind of had so much impact in two different decades.
What about Last House on the Left? Would you say that's the 3 decades?
Well, I don't think Last House really had that big of an effect. I mean, maybe very narrowly. You probably don't get I Spit without Last House paving the way, but it's not like Alligator wouldn't have been made or would have been made differently because Last House existed.
Do you think they'd ever make a movie called I Swallow on Your Grave?
I think you could, and you should.
Describe this plot to me.
I would fund that on like GoFundMe or like an Indiegogo.
I really want us to like write Region Free or whoever. I want us to write and just a movie, just whatever, but we put it on Kickstarter or Indiegogo as Amityville, whatever our title is, and we'll get the funds.
Amityville Nightmare.
Whatever Laura wants to call it, we'll just put Amityville in front of it, and we'll get the donation.
So what's another classic haunted house that people would recognize?
Can I get a real talk?
Sex orgy at Amityville.
I'm thinking. So, how about Amityville versus Hill House? The ultimate Hill. The houses at war with each other.
Okay, so explain this to people. There's the haunting of Hill House, and then there's the House of Haunted Hill. What is the difference?
Got me there.
One of them is a whole lot more literate than the other, in its pure form, anyway. Not counting that 99.
But that confuses a lot of people.
Well, that's why the movies were called The Haunting until the television project, I guess. Actually, Wise this film came out even before that, so that's not really a good explanation, is it?
What about Jan de Bont's stunning remake of it?
That thing doesn't exist. That may be the worst remake ever made. It's up there with The Fog.
Yeah.
Oh, The Haunting? Oh my god.
Not Fog level though. That's
I know. But it's on that list though, that short list, that rarefied air of horrible remakes.
Yeah.
That Fog remake is so ugly. Ugh.
Well, Jonathan likes the Fog remake, is what I've heard.
Ironically, I do. Not like to defend it; it's a good film or anything. It's such a train wreck. I enjoy watching it.
You're also a Smallville fan, aren't you?
Not a Smallville fan. I don't think I've ever seen. No, I just didn't. I like watching that movie. It's not good by any means, but I enjoy it.
Before you turn it on, do you have to like tighten the ball cap by one
notch?
Clip, one notch. I don't know what it's called. I don't wear them. But.
Oh, Lauren, just for you, I wanted to mention this. I have heard rumblings that possibly next month, Vinegar Syndrome may be releasing Pinocchio's Revenge on Blu-ray.
Well, that'll be exciting for the 7 people who give a fuck.
I give extreme amounts of fuck.
Yeah. I want to watch that John Thomas Pinocchio movie than that shit. Oh my god.
I know The Fear's coming out next month. I'll buy that too. So,
which one? I'm sorry, I was talking over you.
Oh, The Fear.
The Fear.
Wooden demon in the cabin.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
It had a fantastic.
I mean, I don't remember. I remember seeing it. I don't remember it. For what that's worth.
Oh yeah.
The movie's actually fine.
No.
So I think we already got to one of Jonathan's like big guilty pleasures, clearly. What would you guys say your big guilty pleasures are?
In movies?
In the genre film, yeah.
No, you swung your guilty pleasure around on Jay's channel one night.
I'm not guilty about that.
God, that's so many.
It's just an horror film. It's strictly horror.
Horror.
Is there, first of all, we have to ask: is there such thing as a guilty pleasure? Or we just like what we like? Because Lauren, you have a lot of hot takes, and we all have a lot of hot takes about things. You know?
So the way I would define,
I'm not the one to judge people.
But okay, so what I would define as a guilty pleasure, and yes, I do think they exist, is films that you know are not good films, but you like them. Like you are tactfully aware they're not a good film, but you're saying, you know what, I enjoy it.
The Nun.
I know this ain't a movie, but a TV show I love is 2.5 Men. I don't know why.
That's so scary.
I think you like 2.5 Men. That's
well,
all there is to it.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to
that show was a big hit. So that's not a guilty pleasure. No, guilty pleasure is like I don't know, like someone who I don't even know what to say.
I mean, I like so much terrible stuff that I don't really know what's a guilty pleasure at this point.
Well, you might have a lot of them. That's nothing wrong with it. Whatever makes your life good. Yeah, Maximum Overdrive probably counts.
I
was mentioned Dr. DC, for God's sakes.
I have a lot, but I have been revisiting a bunch of Giallos for a upcoming show. And
Jello.
I tend to like even the bad ones, to be honest.
I got one. It's not really hard, but the new one's coming out this year, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Yes. Not as good as the first one, but that movie's so bad, it's fucking good. I love it.
They got so many of the characters in that second movie, though. So it's kind of hard for me not to like it.
I was going to talk about that Mortal Kombat movie, but it must have came off my mind.
The photos look good.
I'm intrigued by that.
I mean, a film I love from the 80s. People, I'm sure all of us love it too, but it doesn't get any respect out there. But I seriously think it's in my top 20 of the best films of the 80s, and that's the original, the William Catt, Steve Miner House movie from 1985.
That's a great film.
I know, but a lot of people, you know, if they do see it, they prefer House 2. And I always liked House 1 over House 2.
So weird. When House 2 came out, it was hated on so big. But yeah, I agree. Like, it has such a huge following now.
Mm-hmm. I prefer to.
I have a plethora of guilty pleasures, mostly like all 90s slashers. As previously stated, like I love Pinocchio's Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Thinner.
Mikey.
Thinner. I've watched Thinner multiple times. I wouldn't say like.
Oh, is that damn Logan Paul movie?
No.
Oh, that's The Thinning. Never mind. I was about to say, get out of here.
Then I think it's like the Stephen King adaptation or something. I may be wrong.
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah.
It is. It's a Richard Bachman adaptation, to be technical, but
main actor was a fantastic fat suit. Which is top notch.
Yeah, which is the better one, that or Graveyard Shift? Because I've never seen either one of those. Which would be more of a guilty pleasure movie?
They're both guilty pleasures.
Yeah, Graveyard Shift. I'd say Thinner's worse.
What about the?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Lauren the Mangler. There's a guilty pleasure.
Absolutely.
I don't get pleasure from it though. So I saw that thing as a midnight movie, and I was like, oh my god.
Oh, I got one.
Wheels of Terror.
The Wraith. The Wraith with Charlie Sheen.
I want to see that.
I heard it's awesome.
That movie's wild. Wait a second, Cameron. Is that a Coca-Cola?
It is. I got the 36 pack from Costco.
36 pack. God damn.
Did you count it? Make sure they didn't rip you off.
But I did get a breakfast burrito yesterday, and I was like, "This feels a little lightweight," and so I broke it open. There was nothing in it. It was just the burrito.
I saw that picture.
Yeah. So you got a breakfast tortilla?
Yeah, no egg, no cheese, no potato, no bacon.
I went to Taco Bell last night. They shortened me 4 tacos. I'm like,
wait, whoa! How many tacos did you order?
10?
So this is only 12 tacos.
12.
I ate some for one day.
Wait, you got 10 plus 2?
He's you order the family pack at DoorDash, but you wait for them to leave it on their doorstep so they don't know it's all for you.
No, I went to Taco Bell.
Jesus Christ, pace yourself.
One set of chopsticks, please.
I can eat 12 damn tacos.
Hayden, do you have a helmet nearby?
I maintain that The Nun is actually a solid movie.
I maintain that it is a movie.
I don't.
Oh, come on, Hayden.
There is no form of reality.
As As far as horror goes, it's a lot scarier than The Dark and the Wicked.
God damn, Aiden.
Are we gonna see?
We're gonna have a fight right here.
Are we gonna see The Nun versus La Llorona in a movie?
Yeah.
Oh, that was horrible.
Dude, we're a good 6 months from that happening.
And that goofy werewolf from Annabelle comes home is going to come in at the end as the big bad. They have to team together to fight. Based on a true story, friends.
Inspired by a true story. That's what
Sadako versus Kayoko.
Better than it should be. That film is way better than it should be. It's 2 mini remakes, and then they kind of fight, and it's silly, and they go down a well.
They just need to throw like Tomei in there.
Oh, how many of you guys have actually seen The Nun? Anybody?
I've seen it.
I've seen it once, and
That's why we're saying it sucks.
Dan, what did you think?
It's not great. I don't think it's as bad as its reputation, though.
Like the scares in there, like
so boring.
What
it
scares?
looks amazing. It visually, like the castle, or not castle, but whatever
that's
it's called.
The highlight. Yeah, the highlight is there's some great visuals. It doesn't live up to the trailer. I mean, I remember seeing that trailer and thinking, "Oh, this is right up my alley," and unfortunately,
but it's bad
because the Bob Man.
It's just it's unremarkable. Nothing is.
Dude,
it's not even remarkable bad.
And wasn't The Nun?
Okay, look,
it
wasn't
sucks
The Nun
being bad.
From the title credits to the end of the movie, it's nonstop scares.
It's
like,
nonstop.
all the way through.
What? It's nonstop nonsense. Listen, Griffin has COVID-19 and he says it's awful, so he immediately wins. We have to kowtow to that.
Oh, he's got COVID. Damn.
Fly your flag, Hayden. Just
rest
know
in
you're
peace, Griffin.
Griffin, this is the perfect time for you to watch the redo of Apocalypse Now, because when they go to the French plantation sequence, you will be tripping.
Not bad.
No, but the thing about The Nun wasn't she like even added as like a reshoot for part 2? Like she wasn't even in the original film. So.
I mean, I thought the original idea was really creepy, and what was it, the Conjuring movie it was in?
I guess the painting.
Conjuring
it's just a missed opportunity there. I think that character is really cool, and they had Tessa Farmiga. She's a good actress. So I mean, I don't know. Just a bad script, I guess.
And she was so hot in that movie.
Did anybody else? She was in 50 Stages of Fright, that Quibi thing that failed, and it was actually a really good story. Nobody's seen it, but
Is any of that Quibi stuff going to get released anywhere else?
I hope so, because she was in a really excellent little short from that, but we got a press screener, I think, but I don't know anybody who's seen it. That's the problem.
You got a physical press screener?
Not a physical, no.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, damn.
Yeah, no, just a link, but it was really good. I was impressed. I mean, I only saw, I think, like 2. I saw what's the Travis Fimmel from Raised by Wolves was in another one that was pretty decent. I wasn't expecting much, but it's actually not half bad. I hope I don't know who can pick it up, but I was curious to see the rest of them.
What about the Baba Man?
Oh, that's
what
crap,
about it?
right?
It happened.
I still have not seen the Bye Bye Man.
Which is worse, Bye Bye Man or Wish Upon?
Oh my!
Bye Bye Man.
Wish Upon wasn't terrible.
Bye Bye Man.
See, I can buy the Bye Bye Man new on Blu-ray for $3 at my local Big Lots.
Too much.
And every time I go, maybe, but then I think about my collection, it's already too big, and I'm trying to cull out the stuff that really doesn't belong. And I'm like, am I just dancing through this then? Nah.
Is Bye Bye Man better or worse than My Soul to Take?
Worse.
I'd still say worse.
Jesus. Worse.
The Wes Craven film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen Bye Bye Man, but I would say worse.
So it could have been interesting, but it's just
I can watch My Soul to Take. Like, I can make it through that movie. I can't make it through Bye Bye Man again.
But The Nun, easy watch.
It's more
I would watch
is
the Bye
not
Bye
a
Man.
movie.
I would watch the Bye Bye Man again before.
Oh, get the fuck out of here!
At least I stayed awake during the Bye Bye Man, going, "This is awful." I was just bored with The Nun.
Yeah, The Nun is pretty awful.
I thought it was. I don't know.
Unremarkable.
I guess that's why it's a guilty pleasure, because I'm the only one who likes it.
Correct. This was the right segment to talk about The Nun.
Okay. And with that, I'll digress.
Griffin says that Family Video has plenty of copies of Bye Bye Man.
So, if you need,
I missed out on Family Video. I have a Family Video in my county, about 10 miles from me.
How many?
Jonathan owns enough of it that he can probably open his own now. So
don't. I'm getting enough racks where I can redo a piece of my basement as Family Video.
Have you guys, Joe Bob? If Scream Factory put out a Halloween box set, would you buy it?
Maybe just the first one.
They already did.
I love the first.
They did that.
I love the first one.
Yeah, but you wouldn't buy all 10 of them, or if they put out a Children of the Corn set.
Me? Those movies are the sequels are so shitty.
Would you buy a Children of the Corn set? I'll tell you one thing. If a viewer bought a Scream Factory Children of the Corn box set and donated it to Lauren, he would probably shut the YouTube channel down.
This would call it like the Off the Cob collection. It would be
well, yeah. This reminds me of when I tried to do a Children of the Corn retrospective, but I couldn't get through the movies.
Even the first one.
The first one has not aged well.
No, but it's hard to watch even the first one.
But it at least looks like a real movie.
An idea.
You can't say that very far into that series.
Urban Harvest is my favorite, just for
the third one. Yeah, that's fun.
Yes,
it's a fun B movie. The rest are kind of all crap. I mean that series.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Four
you at least get Naomi Watts.
We used to have a viewer whose name will not be spoken who tried to corner me into doing that retrospective, and then I eventually. My concept was going to be recording how far I could get into each of the film before I had to turn it off, but then I couldn't even do that.
Had you tried before to watch them, or was this the first time you were watching them?
I'm sure I rented the first 2, 3, something like that. I mean, the first one I obviously had seen many, many times, right. But I'm sure that I rented them to a point. But even then, I'd stopped at a certain point. And I don't know, 4 or 5, whatever it was. Because they were just such abysmal times that I wasn't going to waste the money or my incredibly diminishing brain power.
There were several stars though that did come up through that series. Ava Mendes was another one I know that was in one of the later ones, but yeah, they're rough. I remake that if you're going to remake something. I mean, I don't think
they already
did. They did 2 remakes of
the Sci-Fi Channel one they did.
God!
Remake it big. Make it. I mean, He Who Walks Behind the Rose should be Cthulhu anyway. So do it big. Just go way, way bigger
just
with
like it. The camera pulls out and there's this Cthulhu standing.
There's no isolated town anymore with the internet. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. You could drive through parts of Kentucky and you would disagree.
That's why you need a title card after the credits that reads 1982.
Yeah.
The solution to all cell phone and internet problems is 1982.
Yeah. I want to go back to that time period with all this.
You couldn't pay me to go back.
Really?
No, I lived through it once. That's good. I would live through the 90s again, and not the 80s.
Maybe late 80s for me.
Between the 90s were the fucking shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything was better in my life in the 90s than they were in the 80s.
Give me the 80s, baby. I'm doing a bad Dusty Rhodes impression.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah. That's what
Joe, were you wanting a sequel to, what was that, Bubba Hotep?
I've actually never seen that, but I've heard of it.
Really?
Bruce Campbell pretty much played Elvis.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did play Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
It
felt my pecker flutter like a pigeon having a heart attack.
It almost got made. Ron Perlman was going to be in the Campbell role, and Paul Giamatti was in it at one point. And
what?
Did Coscarelli and Campbell have like a falling out or something? Like what? Like why did they not want to come back?
There was some issue there, and I don't remember what it was, but yeah, I remember it being covered.
It's going to be Bubba Nosferatu, right? Like that was going to be the.
Well, the other problem is that they had to get Joe Lansdale to sign off on it as well. So there was a lot. There was a lot of balls juggling just to get the first film made, and the second one was going to be even tougher because Lansdale didn't have source material. So obviously he was just going to be like letting them do whatever he wanted. It's tough.
Yeah.
There was
I always wanted to know where that Bubba Hotep name came from.
It came from the source short story. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, how the name got inspired.
You'd have to ask Lansdale.
I'd like to see his drive-in books get adapted.
Oh man, yes. And they'd be commercially viable, I think. At least the first one.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of Lansdale stuff.
Jess, I'm going to have to disagree with you. Sorry. Jess, I'm going to have to disagree with you. Tremors 1 and 2 are fun. Everything else after that's kind
I love
dog
it.
shit.
I love it.
I agree. Completely agree.
Michael Ghost from Family Ties is in that movie too, but I thought it was taken.
He's in all of them.
God. I love that
Tittles,
first one.
do you like take a break from the hentai viewing to watch Tremors, or is it just close enough that it doesn't throw off your viewing habits? The algorithm on your streaming services doesn't start showing you anything outside the normal?
Tentacles are tentacles, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Tar Heel, what's your hub browsing history like?
The
I have
what?
to know. Your hub browsing history? What's that like?
Orc,
What?
you're getting into trouble now.
Wait, who are you asking?
No,
You're
never
asking
mind.
No,
Hayden
Hayden.
post his.
I mean, I'll show you guys mine real quick.
We will not be sharing our screens. My channel is a little bit different. I'm all for
know,
free
I'm
speech.
joking.
Speech.
Cameron and Lauren always
Just a
steer me in
couple
the right
things he's got
direction.
bookmarked, you know.
You know,
Couple
I did.
longer clips.
I literally did just buy a copy of Nude Nuns with Big Guns on Hamilton Book.
Oh God.
Anyone seen that?
I have, yeah.
Well, I gotta
It's
tell you,
actually like, what's it like?
Daniel.
Lauren and I and Christian did a thing about Dracula. We talked about 90 minutes, and by the end of that, I was about $100 into Hammer horror movies coming to my house.
Yeah,
So
I've got a bunch of Hammer in my Amazon cart right now.
That's so exciting.
it is because two of them, the brides of, and then and Prince of Darkness are Scream Factory like special editions. So that's what sealed the deal for me. Because Horror Dracula, I don't think there's any extras on it. But I got those. I got the first 3, and then I have like the next like 10 in my cart.
And not to make things worse for you, Cam, but don't sleep on the Karnstein trilogy. Just
The which one?
the Karnstein trilogy. Vampire Lovers, Lust for a Vampire, Twins of Evil.
Okay.
They're not really they're not sequels to each other. They just have the Karnstein character as a background villain, pretty much until Twins. But amazing films. Even the second one, which kind of sucks, but amazing anyway because they look like Hammer films. They're full of gorgeous women, great dialogue, insane sets.
This isn't the like the vampires lesbian vampire movie, right? These are different.
Oh no, it's not just Franco's Vampiros Lesbos. No.
Okay.
Although highly recommended.
So this is Twins of Evil, and then what's the last one called?
Well, Twins of Evil is the last one. So it's Vampire Lovers, Lust for a Vampire, Twins of Evil. Dan, so
Nuns with Big Guns. What's it like?
Vampiros Lesbos versus Fascination, then.
Oh, Gene Roland versus Jess Franco.
Yeah.
I like Fascination.
Fascination's probably the better movie, but I have a soft spot for Jess Franco. I always have. I got those 2 giant volumes they put out of his Murderous Passions books, which I highly recommend. I mean, Franco made a lot of terrible movies, but he also made over 200 films, which is amazing when you think about it. I was a part of 3 films I can't imagine. and making 200 movies. I mean, that's just amazing to me.
And they were always like Spanish, Italian, or Spanish, Portuguese co-productions, and the money's coming from 7 different places.
Oh yeah, he had to. I mean, he had to escape the Franco regime. I mean, to get a lot of this stuff made, and he tackled every single genre at one point, which is amazing. And even towards the end of his life, I mean, he was shooting films in his house. But he got it done. All that Sub Rosa stuff he did.
That's all.
Yeah, he's
that's like John Wayne doing like over 150 movies. Jesus.
Lauren, did you pull the trigger on that Argento Macbeth opera?
I have not, and I'm still trying to convince myself I need it.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually also trying to convince myself I don't need it though. At the same time,
$30 is a lot to invest in it.
That's what I'm saying.
Is it on YouTube?
Dan, do you have it?
Have what? I'm sorry.
Argento filmed a production of Verdi's Macbeth, the opera.
I do not.
It's on Blu-ray, like a stage production of Macbeth.
And Cam, I realize it's harder for you to ignore because it's like such an obvious opera connection.
Well, isn't this the production that inspired him to make opera? I think it was.
I don't know what order they came in.
Yeah.
I remember reading an article about the opera, and I think it mentioned that it was being filmed, but I never realized it was just a click away if you wanted it.
At the end, do we just get an apology for Phantom of the Opera? Because that's the one that needs to be taken off the...
You still haven't seen Dracula, that's why.
Yeah, that's true.
You'll have a newfound appreciation for Phantom of the Opera after
you know what?
I got
kind of mad that we because we got off the video with Christian, and I was like, oh, we didn't even mention that one. So,
I would watch Phantom 10 times in a row than have to watch Dracula once.
There are still sequences in Phantom where you go, yes, that's Argento.
Yeah.
There's not a moment of Dracula where you feel that way.
Oh wow. That's the last thing he's made, right? Correct. Still.
Yeah.
He's trying to make a giallo right now. Is my understanding.
Right.
I'm kind of good.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think it's time. Unfortunately, I mean, I knew Argento Dracula at that time period was not going to be the film that we probably all had in our heads, the masterpiece that he might have done in the 70s or 80s. But wow. It's horrible. It's worse than your average Sci-Fi Channel original. It really is.
Oh, yeah.
I've been told not to watch it. Like, it's so bad.
And it's even more painful because it's the actors that you love, and their line readings are as wooden and stale as anything out there. It's bad. It's bad all around. And then the giant CGI praying mantis shows up.
I don't know what. Yeah.
I've been sitting on it for years, and I don't know why I haven't put it in my player yet.
It's just one unforgivable sin. I mean, it really is. I not that there weren't some other weak films that he did towards the end, but that I remember texting my friend and just saying, I can't believe I'm watching this. It feels like a cruel joke.
It feels like finding a stash of porn under your father's bed after he dies.
Yeah.
One thing you didn't need to muddy the memory.
I even liked The Card Player. I mean, I know a lot of people shit on that movie. Like, I didn't think that was that terrible.
I think Card Player is okay. I think Sleepless is Non-Sohano is okay. I think that Giallo, the beginning and ending of Giallo is pretty great, and then the middle sucks. But you could always find something in Argento, these films, that you'd go, okay, it was worth watching for that or this or whatever. Dracula doesn't have that.
And it's all digital, right? So it's like looks really.
Oh, it looks awful.
Yeah.
I'm not overhyping how bad that is. I don't know.
No, you're not.
I'm really not.
Lauren, I know I'm asking for a curse on my bank account at this moment, but Hammer Horror in terms of the Frankenstein movies, worth watching too. Like the
Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell is one that you'll particularly like because it has such it's so European. But yeah, I mean, Christian was pushing Frankenstein Created Woman, which I have very mixed feelings about as a film. But the whole thing of that franchise that's cool is that, unlike the Universal franchise where you followed the monster, you follow the doctor and his travels, and it goes wild because they didn't have a problem about messing that man up. So it's kind of a cool experiment. It's very different from a Frankenstein series. But the thing is, don't look at the rest of the stuff they did outside the big franchises and mistake those either, because there's so much great Hammer.
Oh yeah, I mean,
avoid the television series and you're fine.
The Hands of the Ripper is the one that I grew up watching, so that has nothing to do with those.
I actually prefer the Frankenstein Hammer films over the Dracula ones as a whole, personally. I mean, I love horror Dracula, but I'd actually say overall they're better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Both series have their psychedelic, obviously late 60s influenced entry, and I'll let you get to those on your own and make your own determination. But
yeah.
I don't know, but also like Captain Kronos and Captain Clegg. Don't overlook anything from that. And Amicus, all the Amicus titles. That's not Hammer, but they look very similar. Don't forget about these titles. I scream it all the time, but Beast Must Die is my favorite werewolf film of all time, simply because it's so fun. It's like you wake up in a 70s, psychedelic nightmare of 70s excess. It's awesome.
That's on Shudder right now, I believe, if people want to
check really?
That out. Yeah. I think, or it was in the last month. It should be.
I love that movie. Yeah. All right, guys. So let's give some final thoughts, because we're going to work on 2 hours and just 9 minutes, because time flies on these things. It's longer than I thought I'd make it. Let's start with Cam. Final words. Anything going on in your channel? Anything you want to promote?
I'm just, I've been getting a lot of people saying, "Oh, you should go through your collection, one letter at a time." We love that kind of stuff. So I started doing it. It's the least watched videos of all my channel. But now I'm like so deep in, it's like I got to finish it. So I'm like, there's nothing worse than hitting record, being into the video you're making, and knowing that 30 people are going to watch it. So.
Oh wow.
But so I'm making my way through that.
I know you did a video about with that Raggedy Ann, Andy, on your chair. That was freaking creepy.
Raggedy Ann? What are you talking about?
The Annabelle.
I think it was while you was doing that Queen of
Annabelle
Hearts
right
movie.
There? The one up there?
Where he's talking about the broadcast where you simply allowed the doll to have the show for 7 hours.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, I scared Jamie too, because she wrote in the chat, "I hope that thing doesn't move." And so that inspired me to go off camera and make the thing move.
I was thinking the same thing.
Do you have like a plexiglass box to put it in?
I want to put her in sort of like what they have, the wood box that says "Do not open." Like that's what I want. But
that'd be cool.
During that broadcast, Orc and I and Jamie were chatting for like an hour on that broadcast.
I think I was on that broadcast one point, but
I think what I would do though is I'd put her in a wooden box and then put it hang it up in the garage, so it has to get that old spiderweb look all over the box and stuff.
Cameron's the man in the box. I'm
in the cardboard box.
So anyway, I was just happy that you guys were on live and I had the time free and stuff like that. So thanks for letting me come on.
Yeah, same here.
Awesome. Jay, any final thoughts? What's going on with you?
Here at 11 o'clock Eastern, I'll be doing a live commentary for Fist of Legend. If you guys want to go check that out.
Nice.
If I'm still awake by then.
Well, send Jay a message letting him know if you're awake. Orc.
Yo.
So what's going on in your part of the world, sir?
Fucking owning some noobs, playing little PC games here, playing a little PS4 and Xbox here, and then over there, watching some HBO and some Netflix. I'm just trying to not get COVID. at the moment. Yes.
So why don't you invite Griffin over?
Well, we have
like
a
a
no
chicken box
sunglass
party
policy.
Understood.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, unless you're Wesley Snipes, but actually, I wish him the best in recovering. Griffin.
Absolutely. We love you, man. Stay safe.
Yeah.
Jonathan.
From what Corey said, he said it was complete hell, and then he might even get it a second time, which hopefully he doesn't. So, but yeah. Lungs stop working, not a good thing. But yeah, just been gaming tons and watching a few movies over here and there, mainly documentaries and docuseries. But yeah, that's about it. Contact me on orc145626 on Twitter and Facebook. Well, not Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. There you go. Yeah.
Jonathan, what do you got going?
Well, this Saturday, at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be eating some
there he is.
Trinidad Scorpions over on the Floors and Doors podcast channel.
I'll be praying for you.
Hottest pepper in 2012.
Yeah, hottest pepper of 2012. That is correct.
God, boy.
Jay will be there. Lauren will be there. Hayden will pop on for a cameo, I'm sure.
Maybe not me. Maybe
Just may
Jeff
pop
from
on.
Films at Home.
Maybe. Hey, I have an in. He was on with Heath from Serial at Midnight now, so maybe I can get him on, right? And just let you guys talk it out. So.
Hug it out, man. Hug it out. What else is going on, Joe? I know you have more than just the pepper challenge going.
Yeah. I'm trying to think here.
Tell them how it is, Aisha.
I'm sure the week after we'll probably be back with part 3 of Mel's Hole from our Art Bell series.
Dude, the hole's getting deeper and deeper every
The hole is getting deeper.
Yes.
I listened to those. Those were fun shows.
Oh, thank you very much. They're fun to do. So I'm glad that people are enjoying them. But got a podcast out. Our new podcast just dropped. Me and Corey go over our top 5 films of the year. Very different lists, so it's worth a listen.
I loved it.
Is that audio only?
I think that one is audio only.
Okay.
So you can find that at smoresanddoorspodcast.com.
Don't forget the 24-hour video promo.
I can't remember the day that is now.
I don't know. Otherwise, I would help.
But that is coming out 24-hour stream. Because we're animals.
Wait, I got you, homie.
I don't think he does. Dan, what's coming up on your myriad of upcoming shows?
Well, we have a Jallo tournament coming up, which reviews / eliminations. I know we don't have dates for them yet, but we're also doing a Serbian film comedy commentary because, of course, you got to try and make that funny.
I'll be watching along with that.
Definitely watching that.
I love that movie.
We're also want to do Antichrist too, the longest movie.
Another one of my favorites.
But we have a bunch of stuff up right now, so Fleshwind features on YouTube.
Awesome, and definitely a vital member and voice in the community. Jess, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Lauren?
Were you waiting long and I just didn't notice you down there? If so, I really do apologize.
I think so, but I was listening to everybody. It was great. Still chatting.
He's been there the whole time, Lauren. You didn't notice him?
It's very possible.
No, I'm just
wanted to come by and say hi. I not much to say. I did get this for Christmas, though.
Oh, look at that!
I still haven't read mine yet.
I just started mine, so I can't tell you much about it yet. But I'm anxious to get it read and talk about it.
Well, at some point, maybe I'll have a stream of just people who've read the book.
That'd be fun.
How many books
I think that would be really fun, actually.
Excuse me?
I'll order it for that.
How many books you put out, Lauren?
That'd be fun.
Just 2?
I don't like the wording there. No, there are 5 published novels, and then there's about 3 dozen short stories and anthologies that you could search out. Then there's a short story collection that I put out with some friends just to keep them in print and available.
Okay.
But
cool.
Thank you very much for pimping my book there, Jess.
So, I enjoyed the Visited by Voices, the volume of short stories a lot. So that pushed me to want to order a full novel.
Good chance a second volume of that is coming this coming year, but I have no information on it. So,
and I have a 5th grade reading level, and I can also say that book is good.
I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not, but I'm going to take it.
In terms of my reading skill, it's a compliment. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Joe.
Yo.
You keep changing your
not
names.
much.
What do you got going, and what can we expect to see you from around the community?
Not much. I don't really post much on YouTube.
Well, you should.
And I'm not even on Facebook and Twitter no more.
Well, because they kicked your ass off, but...
Turn the lights back on, man.
No, don't.
Actually, yeah, good call. Good call.
All right, so on this channel, guys, we're back on Friday evening at 8 p.m. with the author of First Blood, David Morrell, the man who introduced the world to a man named John Rambo.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
Awesome.
And then I will be, of course, on the S'mores Indoors podcast, ending my life with the Scorpion Pepper Challenge. And then on Monday, we're back here with Steve Ramsnick-Tem, 80s horror author legend, again at 8 p.m. Later in the month, we have Mike Arnzen and Ramsey Campbell coming up. Obviously, Ramsey Campbell's a living legend. Do not miss your chance to actually ask a question or two with Campbell, because it's a big one, like a really big one. If you're not a horror reader, do a little bit of research. You'll understand how big. Like literally, you cannot get bigger in Britain.
Yeah. Period.
He is the Stephen King of Britain. And there's a couple more announcements I haven't made yet, and I can't announce here either, that are some big names as well. So this month is quickly filling up. We will have a Critical Pursuit in the middle of the month. So if anyone is interested in being on the show, just scream at me, visitedbyvoices@gmail.com, or connect with me on Twitter. I tend to follow everyone back unless you have something really overtly, insanely political in your byline. And
Yo, can I do a plug?
Well, don't skip over me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Hayden. Did you disappear?
I've just been kind of talking throughout.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go for it.
I've just got some. I'm working on some vinyl record videos, going through my vinyl collection.
Sweet.
And instead of I decided to go the quality over quantity route. I'm going to try to really put some work in on some of these videos and make them more like documentary style, rather than just me sitting down with a one shot going through my collection. So hopefully those will turn out good. I'm still working on it, but that's what I've got.
Oh, look at that. There's another book showing up.
Ooh.
Damn. Oh,
wow.
Yep.
Pretty
so the other thing I'd be remiss if I did not mention is that there will be a region free on Thursday evening at 8 p.m. So obviously y'all want to show up for the big show. Other than that,
check them out, baby.
Look at this. Like, Orc is the man. He's my press agent at this point.
Yeah. Also, during shitty times like this, support bands, authors, and movies you really like. I can't really go like all out on Blu-rays like I used to, but yeah. So do it up.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone that stayed with us through the chat. It was a very lively chat. I couldn't even keep up with it, so I didn't even try and put much on screen. But thank you. You're the best community anywhere. Have a great night. Stay safe.
Horror